and they are truly baseball royalty of Galesburg. Here to my left, we have Mr. Gross, who is the Legion commander, and we also have Coach Jeremy Klein, who is the head baseball coach of Galesburg American Legion Post 285 baseball. I'm executing two roles today here, one of city council member and deputy mayor, but also, and more importantly, the one that I'm executing is one of the pride that I feel as a former player and one that I feel as a former assistant coach for Coach Isaacson. This is a real, true honor and privilege for me to be involved with the decision to have this named for Coach Isaacson and to be involved with this ceremony. We have a short program of speakers in our ceremony. Before we begin with our speakers, I would like to acknowledge and thank a few people who have been instrumental in this process of getting the ball field here at HT Custer Park named Coach Jimmy Isaacson Field. Dan Dalton, who is a brother-in-law of Coach I, and Dave Selkirk, a longtime friend, started the process a number of years ago. And it always takes somebody to get the ball rolling, and they should be given a lot of credit for this. I would like to also, and please give them a round of applause. I would like to also give tremendous credit to John Pritchard and his family. The Custers were relatives of John Pritchard and his family, and he gave his blessing to do this without question to make sure that we got this field named in honor of Coach Isaacson. Mayor Schwartzman couldn't be here today. He began his vacation today. Also, Evan Miller, who is the 3rd Ward Alderman, which covers this area, works as a farmer, and he got called into work today, and he's really disappointed that he couldn't be here. He wanted to make sure that that I reinforce these points to you, that he was so much behind naming this field for Coach Isaacson, and he feels very strongly about us doing a lot more to this ballpark to make it the crown jewel that it once was. I would like to also thank Kelly Benowitz. Kelly Benowitz is our city clerk. She does an enormous amount of things behind the scenes in our city. She put together this wonderful program and did a lot of things to help make this a reality. I would like to also thank Don Miles, our Parks and Recreation Director, for setting this up here and doing some of the things that we're going to see later that will be the permanent markers that this is Coach Jimmy Isaacson Field. I would like to also thank Eric Hansen, our city manager. We got a real jewel here when Eric Hansen became our city manager. Working with him to try to get this process started, tremendous. So please give those city folks a big round of applause. I would like to also thank Mr. Gross, Kyle Spencer, and Lori Sykes. Restarting Galesburg American Legion baseball was a difficult task, and they've done a tremendous job with it. And I know you guys as ball players appreciate that, but the work they've done here so that you can have one of the great athletic experiences can't be overstated. So thank you to all of them. We also will have Coach James Clark here, who is a longtime Oneida coach and an assistant coach, a longtime assistant coach for Coach Isaacson at Knox College. Oneida has been a great rival of Post 285, and they put together some teams that were very formidable. I recall in 2012 when we played them, we had to beat them at a doubleheader to win the district. And besides Moline that year, who finished 3rd in the nation, that Oneida team was the best team we played. So they do a great job. Coach Clark and his father preceding him. We're glad they're here today and the opponent today, and thank you for being here. Our first speaker, and we're going to start with our program now. Our first speaker is a former player also of Coach Isaacson. And, I want to backtrack one second. I had no idea what to expect here today, but what I did expect, or what I thought and had a hunch, is that we would have a big crowd, which says so much for the Isaacson family and Coach Jimmy Isaacson. I would like, and there are players that go back here 60 years, who were the guys that I look up to as the idols of my childhood. It wasn't the professional players at that time. It was these guys. All of us came out here and watched these guys play and looked at them in awe because they could play. They played with moxie and style, and they won, and they were really, really good. And being a Legion baseball player in this town was really the ultimate honor. And I know those players that out there can sit here and think that, yeah, playing Galesburg Legion baseball for Jimmy Isaacson or whoever they played for was truly the ultimate athletic honor. And there are a lot of them here from all different generations. So would you guys raise your hands? I know you're a lot of them over there. Raise your hands as former Legion baseball players, coaches, and please give them a big round of applause. And it's an honor to be associated with them. Some I played with, some I got to coach. And again, like I said, some of those older players were guys that I looked up to in a big, big way. Okay, let's go ahead and begin with our speakers. Our first speaker here today is going to be Jeremy Klein. As I said, Coach Klein played for Coach Isaacson, an outstanding baseball player, is now the outstanding coach of Post 285 baseball, and truly a wonderful person and someone that I treasure and value knowing. So, Coach Klein, please come on up, and you have the mic.
I'm not near as smooth as Coach Cheese here, so bear with me on this. But I will keep it short. It's not going to get any better than that, people. So, first thing I want to say is behind every great man, there's a great woman. So Jimmy, Patty, was that woman behind Jimmy? I remember seeing Patty and the girls at games in the past, and I know what a sacrifice that is. Huge sacrifice. I found this the other day, and it says this about legacy. The story you leave behind for others to tell, the impression you make on the next generation, not comprised of money or material things, but of character, conviction, and compassion. So that's Jimmy. 40 years ago, it was, Coach Cheese just said it, it was the ultimate honor. It's what every 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old baseball player in Galesburg wanted to do, was be on the Galesburg Legion team. It was a huge, huge honor. You knew that if you were asked to be on that team, that you were pretty good. Now, there were still players better than you, but you were pretty good. I had the fortune of playing for Jimmy for 6 seasons, 2 of them in Legion, 4 of them at Knox College. And I would tell you that those were the best 6 years of baseball of my life. A story I don't share very often, and I'm not going to go into great detail today, but I went through something in my mind that was absolutely horrific at Knox College. And Jimmy had all the confidence in the world in me when he probably shouldn't have. But he did, and I've always appreciated that. Anyway, my favorite Jimmy story was actually kind of a combination of high school and Legion. So my junior year, 1988, Galesburg High School, we go and win the state tournament on a Saturday night. We come back to town on Sunday morning, hop on a fire truck. We got a parade through town. We go out to Field Gym, have a big reception out there, celebrating the state championship. And right after that celebration, we were heading to Sunbird Field, back then Community Field, to play our first doubleheader of the Legion season. Jimmy wasn't going to wait around. We just won a state title. He was proud of us. He'd coached a lot of us before, but he was ready to get that Legion season started. The good thing about that was, you probably couldn't guess this, but I wasn't really a power hitter, a home run hitter. But that night I get up first at bat, my Legion season with Jimmy. I played the year before, but anyway, my first year with Jimmy, and I got bases loaded. I think there was 1 or 2 outs at the time. I can't remember that, but I hit a ball as hard as I can hit a ball. My one and only Legion home run was a grand slam. Wouldn't have happened if Jimmy didn't make us play, so I'm glad that happened. And my wife didn't even get to see it. She was home making me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. She wasn't my wife when I was 17. She was my girlfriend then. Anyway, last thing I'm going to share with you is I wear number 0 on my uniform for 2 reasons. The first and most important reason is, to me, God plus nothing equals everything. If you didn't make it to church today, that's your sermon for the day. God plus nothing equals everything. That's why I'm number 0. The second reason I wear number 0 is because everything that I teach these guys in baseball, and I've coached younger ages up to Legion, over 200 kids at this point, 200 young people, everything I teach is not from me. It is 100% from Jimmy Isaacson. And that's why I wear 0, to honor him with that, because everything just got passed on because of him. So I'll leave you with this. Great great coaches leave behind memories, banners, and trophies. Great coaches leave behind a culture, values, and standards that create a sustainable advantage each year. Don't just leave the program, leave a legacy. And that's what Jimmy did.
I think he did pretty well, didn't he? Excellent job. Great words. Our next speaker is going to represent the Isaacson family, and before we bring him out here, I cannot say enough about what he just said about you too, Pat. I mean, my Lord, the sacrifices that you made for your family and the things you did for your family are tremendous. Let's give Pat another round of applause. Tremendous lady. Okay, as I said, our next speaker representing the Isaacson family is a dear friend of mine, and I know a dear friend of many of you. Jimmy Isaacson has been an outstanding coach in his own right. He's spent so much time here. In case you don't know, and I think most of you know, they grew up right over there, field, and spent most of their time over here at the field as a family for almost a half a century. So they know the lay of the land here. And Jamie used to tag along with his dad, and then got to play for his dad, and then got to coach with his dad. So there's nobody that knows him as well as Coach's son, Jamie. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up Jamie. He's going to talk a little bit about his father and what this means to their family. Coach?
Thank you. Before I get started, just to let you know I will get a little emotional, so give me a little time on some things. First of all, Steve had mentioned Dan Dalton, Uncle Dan to me. His son, Judge Dan O'Dalton, is here, and I'd like to give him another round of applause. Whew. This is going to be hard. Behind me, since Coach Klein brought up legacy, which is what I had planned to talk about today, thanks for that. I'm sorry. Oh, it was granddaughter Jillian. Daughter Billy, my wife. Son, Jason. You bet. My sister Amy. My sister Jody could not be here today. And then, of course, Dan, I'll get to you later. Legacy. At times, it's hard to live with. Talking to Mark Thiel before we walked to the field, I think he knows exactly what I'm talking about. When you're a son, when you're a son of a local legend, there's pressure with that. But there's also some really, really great things. And I'm looking at about 100 of them right now. The people you meet, the network you create, the unequivocal, unconditional love that is created through a game, through a moment, through whatever is, I can't explain it. So as I push on and talk about Jimmy, here's his legacy. First of all, his greatest legacy, his grandchildren. my nephew Nicholas, granddaughter Jillian, grandson Peyton, grandson Nolan, granddaughter Avery, and great-grandson Nathan. He would tell you that was his number one legacy. He loved every single one of you. More importantly, he'd be proud of every single one of you. Second, the legacy of his players. Did he always make everybody happy? No. But he cared. And he loved you. You may not have been the favorite of that team, but he made damn sure that your experience equaled any experience that any athlete that he ever coached, from Carl Sandburg to Knox College to the Galesburg Pioneers and to the program that he loved the most, Galesburg Post 285. His next legacy was about winning, and I'm really talking to the red shirts right now. Winning was important to Jimmy. It was important to Galesburg. It was important to our family. The winning that you think I'm talking about is Galesburg 5, Oneida 4. That was important. But the real winning that he spoke of, and all the ex-players know this because we've sat after a game and had to listen to speech 102. It's about taking the moment and understanding who you are, where you are, and where you want to go. One of the greatest things about Jimmy is that he always allowed you to be you. And the moment you weren't you, he'd call you out. And I mean, call you out. And the winning that I speak of is this: the ability to take the lessons, good, bad, tears, blood, sweat, you name it, and become men. Be good fathers. Be good husbands. Be good citizens. When I brought up his grandchildren, the one thing that we'd sit over in that house in center field, and Avery, this tall, might be sitting on his lap, and Jimmy would say, I don't really care what you do, but if you do it, do it to the best of your ability. And that's what this program's about. Is your legacy reflects to Sam Andry and Jim Isaacson and Mike Sturgeon and Steve Cheeseman and now Jeremy Klein. That's what it's about. That's what winning is when those uniforms are turned in, what are you going to do next? Now the tough one. His final legacy. The woman behind me. The crap she had to put up with. Right on, Sandy is right. The crap she had to put up with. Yes, please. But don't be fooled. She loved every minute of it. She loved you guys. From Troy Jackson, Dave Bowman, to Mark Thiel, to Peach. I mean, I'm sorry I'm naming names I shouldn't, because there's too many. Pat Heiss, he loved and she loved you. The relationships that were built. That legacy lives in myself, my older sister Jody, and my lovely sister. Amy. He loved you, Mom. No, he's looking down right now and saying, "Quit crying, you." Oh, he is. Trust me. No doubt about it. I know I've rambled. I've gone too long. But the humility in which the Isaacson family and the Theobald family and the Davison family and every other extended family member, Lance Mitchell, we are humbled, we are gracious, and we thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Jimmy wouldn't be able to talk because he'd be like, "I'm pretty sure the British Open's about ready to finish. We got to find out who wins here." So thank you, Coach. The thank you to you. I and my family cannot, there's nothing we can say more than thank you so, so much. Galesburg, thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach I. Just a wonderful testament to his dad. And, you know, you look out here, and I've said many a times in the role sort of as a city council member, by far the best thing we have in our town is its people. You folks are the salt of the earth. You make this the town that it is, and it's a terrific, terrific city. Couple thoughts that I have, and then we're going to wrap this up and get what we're really here for, and that's to dedicate this field. There's a lot of things to say about Coach Isaacson. We all know there's not enough time to do that. There's not enough superlatives to describe him. But there's one thing as I thought about this that really stands out about him, and both these guys have got to it, and I'm getting to it in another way, is how well he related to people. He was a master communicator, and by that he could listen, take in what was coming his way, and then be able to give a very, very profound and easy to understand explanation of what was going on. He inspired you by his words, but he also inspired by his inflection and his body language. You could sure understand how he felt by that. He just wanted you to succeed. And he wanted you to succeed not for himself, but for you. I mean, he truly was a selfless individual. Being, as I said, a Legion baseball player here was the ultimate honor, and certainly playing for him was the ultimate honor in terms of an athlete. And I think that when you see all these folks out here, you see these things being said here today, it's a testament to his legacy. You don't need to know anything more just by looking out here of what you see today. A couple of H.T. Custer Park highlights and Jimmy highlights. Baseball has been played here for almost 90 years. Independent leagues, barnstorming, Negro leagues, including Satchel Paige, Babe Ruth, CICL College, including Hall of Famers like Mike Schmidt, who many would say is the greatest third baseman in Major League Baseball history. And by the way, baseball has more history than all the other sports combined. But of all those, and CICL, as I say, but all of this baseball that was played here, Legion was the heart of this baseball. And if Legion was the heart of this baseball, Jimmy Isaacson was the soul of it. He coached for almost 50 years at many levels, and at every level, his performance and success was unmatched. I coached for 40 years and grew up watching and playing sports here, and Jimmy Isaacson certainly would be on my Mount Rushmore of coaches, and there'd be no question about it. His coaching records and his coaching approach are second to none. We will not see the likes of his kind again. Now, what I would like to now officially do is go ahead and do what we've come here to see today. It's now time to officially dedicate H.T. Custer Park's ballpark, Coach Jimmy Isaacson Field. This was approved by a unanimous decision at our May 6th City Council meeting. I also want to recognize, I see a couple of other City Council members here today. I think I saw Heather Achera. Heather's back there. I'm not sure if I saw any others. Okay, there's Wayne Dennis. And I know that our others here that are missing, as I say, Evan Miller, Brad Hicks, Dwight White, and Sarah Davis, certainly were behind this, as was Mayor Schwartzman. And this was something that is just a real no-brainer. It was approved by unanimous vote that day, and again, it was something that I brought forth to Mr. Hanson and Mrs. Benowitz and my colleagues, and they did a tremendous job getting the ball rolling with this. And this was certainly one of the things when I got elected on the city council, and there are lots of important things to do, but this is one that is truly one of the most enjoyable and one of the biggest honors to be able to help with a lot of other people make this happen. So without further ado, we have a sign over here on the fence here that today we now are going to officially dedicate this field as Coach Jimmy Isaacson Field forevermore. And you can remove that cover. There will be two more signs that will be put up here, and it'll be no question that you can identify this. And the stories about this man and who he was and what he did will live forevermore in this town. So, officially welcome you to Coach Jimmy Isaacson Field. I have the resolution, and of course I forgot it in the other car. I will get it to the family, but we do have a replica of the sign that we're going to give to the family now. And again, I can't be more pleased and proud of all of you that came out here today than I know feel the same as all we do about Coach Isaacson and about his family. Thank you again for all of you that made this happen. Congratulations to the Isaacson family, and thank you and God bless Coach Jimmy for all he did for so many. And let's now go win a doubleheader and finish the season in a big way. Thank you so much for attending.